Hi, Juliet Fagan here. I first of all want to make a disclaimer. I am not a university trained MD, and so this that I'm doing right here is really for educational and reasoning purposes. But let me tell you a little bit about myself that you would understand why I feel comfortable and able to do what I am doing right here. I am an ex-police officer with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force. Then went on to do my training as a nurse at the Georgetown Hospital. I worked at the hospital for over 20 odd years. As a matter of fact, I was even given a scholarship by the Cayman Islands government to go off to Florida to pursue studies for theater and as a surgical technologist. As far as I know, until this day, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, I became the first Caymanian to be certified by the board of the Liaison Council of America. As I said, I don't know if anyone else has been certified in that area. When I returned, I worked and supervised their sterilizing department, SPD, for several years. I also worked in the operating room, in the operating theater, and I can say that I was one of, not the only one, but I was also one of those nurses that flowed and worked throughout the entire hospital. From casualty to antenatal clinic, mat ward, pediatric, geriatrics, which is general ward, surgical ward. And I was also one that went off to do inspections at Kim & Brack due to being supervisor in the sterilizing department at the Georgetown Hospital. I consider myself to be a very good nurse, and that was the sentiments of my superiors and patients alike. I was one that was very passionate about anatomy and physiology, about virology, bacteriology. I was always passionate about those things. After I resigned the Georgetown Hospital to go into full-time ministry in the late 80s, a few years after I went on to do my studies through the Alternative Medicine College of Canada, where I did my studies to earn my diploma as a naturopathic or holistic practitioner, consultant, and educator. I then went on to do studies at the Colon Therapy School in Juno Beach, Florida. Then went back several years after to Garden City, New York, to pursue further studies with one of the renowned GI doctors, and that's the name of their business, GI Doctors, Dr. Chris Demetrio. And so, for someone who might not understand GI doctors, well, GI doctors has to do with one of which we have a top GI doctor, leading GI doctor in the Cayman Islands, Dr. Steve Tomlinson. And GI has to do with gastroenterologist. And so, with all of my years of allopathic or conventional medicine, from nursing background, surgical background, dealing with meds and dealing with, you name it. And then going on to alternative medicine, I do have a vast majority of knowledge when it comes to certain things. But as I said, I am alternative medicine, naturopathic. I am not a university trained MD, which focuses on, synthetic drugs and different things and medications. So I feel led in my spirit. After some time, I could have chosen to go on a radio station, television station, or anything like that. But to be honest, I was not led to do that. And so I am putting it out this way. We want to look at some things here that has me puzzled and has me pondering for months upon months. We're going to be talking about the lymphatic system. We're going to be looking at the lymphatic system. And with my knowledge, as I said before, being trained as a nurse, being trained in surgery, being trained, and majoring in anatomy and physiology, you would understand my passion for this kind of thing. So we're going to focus in and zoom in on some things here that really has me puzzled, and I chose to wait. I chose to wait until this time to do what I'm doing. I chose to wait for a reason until this time. We're going to look at Cd8 cells. The Cd8 cells in the lymphatic system, is what we call the suppressors. The Cd8 cells is what we call the suppressors, or the T cells. In other words, the killer cells in the lymphatic system. Our immune system depends on the health of the lymphatic system. Lymph is a fluid that flows through the bloodstream. It scourges up anything, it attacks anything, and then it sends it to the waste system to be excreted. Now, as I said before, the Cd8 cells is what we call the suppressors, the T cells, the killer cells in the lymphatic system. In other words, they're the snipers. They're really there as the snipers. They're specific cells. They're created to attack, shoot down. They're designed to kill viral infections, viral infected cells, bacterial infected cells. You're dealing now with the the T cells or the killer cells. You see, anything that lands on the surface of our cells, like what we have today, even say the spike proteins, cancer cells, any kind of cells that would land on the surface of our good cells, you would find that the T cells or the killer cells goes and try to attack and prevent anything from damaging the good cells. So can you imagine what's going on in the body after certain things has been put in the body? Whether it's 1 time, 2 time, maybe now 3 time, 4 time, we don't know how many times it will be put in there. And I'm just using wisdom. He that has ears to hear will hear and understand. You see, as a nurse, as a trained nurse, I learned a lot about differential blood works. Differential blood works was done regularly to patients to see the levels of the different blood cells. We know that you have the lymphocytes, the leukocytes, and all of these, the neutrophils, the granulocytes, the different different cells for different reasons. And you saw the granulocytes, granulocytes rather is a big word. Is what we call the first responder cells. This is the cells, they're designed now that when you see something come in, okay, they charge. They're going to be the first responders. And I'm going to break it down so that children can understand what I'm saying. So just imagine what I'm saying now. The granulocytes, they go out and they start fishing around and, scouting out and, see exactly what's happening. You understand? And so the first responders, what they do, they attack now any bacterial infection, any tissue damage. How many times, see a little bump come upon you, and when you look, you see it red and inflamed at first, but then when you look now, you see it yellowish, like it ready to burst, the pus. But believe it or not, that is showing you that bacteria, that infection was attacked and surrounded by these cells, and as a matter of fact, it was killed. That's why you see the pus. And the pus now is the old, tissue and stuff that was destroyed. So natural killer cells are the major killer cells of the immune system. Notice I say natural. The natural killer cells. In other words, we were created by God with natural killer cells to protect us. You see, when the adaptive immune system is maxed out or overloaded, then it becomes destroyed. So if a certain amount of things is pumped in to the body, and the natural, killer cells is overwhelmed and stressed and working overtime and can't, deal with the case. That's what we call then about building up, antibodies. But what happens now when there is too much antibodies and the body have nothing to fight and to resist when the T cells or the killer cells are, diminished or destroyed? What we have then is systemic toxicity that begin to set in due to foreign matter. You understand? Pathogens, in other words, toxins. You see, instead of fighting for the immune system, when the body gets into this kind of problem, the body then starts to attack itself. I want you to listen to me. The body begins to attack itself, and then what we hear, we develop autoimmune disease. You understand? There's different kinds of autoimmune disease. You got lupus. You have stuff that happens in the colon. You have stuff that happens to the nervous system, the muscle system. You understand, the heart. All kinds of things begins to happen when there is autoimmune disease or diseases. Sometimes when the body is trying to fight off, when the body is trying to fight off, when the lymphatic system is trying to fight off, pathogens, bacteria, virus or any toxins, you find then that persons can end up with swollen lymph nodes. Sometimes under the armpit, sometimes the neck, sometimes in the groin. You understand? They pop out all over because there are lymph nodes throughout the whole body. And as I said before, when we see this kind of thing happening, something is going on inside of the body, and the body is warning you. The body is saying something is not right. We are working, we are doing our best. We're talking about the lymphocytes, the T cells, the killer cells. We're doing our best to fight off this pathogen, this toxin, that we have found in the body. We are doing our best, so we're signaling you. We're letting you know. And I'm here saying all of this, and it's been from early. It's been from daylight. I've tossed and I've rolled and I've turned. And as I said before, I've been pondering over and over. You understand? I've been pondering over and over. Why is it that we don't hear? Why is it that we don't hear about, differential blood monitoring as it pertains to certain things? You understand? Now you got to bear in mind, and I want you all to hear me out. You got to bear in mind, I'm not speculating. This is not from YouTube. This is not from what nobody has, trying to bring across, or I'm trying to sound like I know it all or anything like that. Let me tell you something. What is inside of me? What is inside of me from in the early 80s, what I've been taught and what I continue to study, it's inside of me. I don't need to go nowhere to look for nothing. It's a part of my bloodstream. It's a part of me. It's embedded in me. And so I know my stuff. And so I've been wondering, why is it that we don't hear people being sent to monitor their blood works, before, notice I say before, during, or after certain things, since there are advocates about surety and safety of certain things. At least, I think it would be the best thing to do to monitor, people's immune system to see, what is going on. But what I do see happening is anything to boost the immune system, to protect the immune system, to help, the body fight off and resist, is being attacked or thrown out. You see, I was taught over the years, this was taught to me, and this is the impression that I have. I know hurry come Johnny by night. Hurry come up. Person talking. You're talking about someone that is passionate about what she's saying. I was taught that any good MD would want to monitor their patients. They would want to monitor their patients holistically, on a whole, which includes x-rays, ultrasounds. Well, back then it wasn't so much of a MRI type of thing, blood works, monitor everything. This is what I was taught, and this is what I am used to. You understand? And I would think that in this day and age, and with what's happening around us, that MDs would be very, very mindful of doing their own data collection. That's what I would be thinking. I would think that government leaders and, public health ministers would have enough common sense or do some due diligence to even make suggestions that MDs, would it be nice if we can ask you all as medical doctors to do your own data collection and findings and prove that what we are doing and what we are saying does not interfere, impede, or destroy a person's immune or lymphatic system. Now, I know this is hardcore, but I think I'm making sense. You see, I listen over and over, and I listened recently to many health ministers, including our very own and others, as they stand and shout with venom and anger that it is safe. Now you pick sense of the nonsense. It is 100% safe? How can they sleep? How can they sleep after they say and defend such things? How can they sleep? What happened to conscience? Is there any more conscience? Why do every health minister, him or her, slow down? You know, we know that there are many health ministers that are not university trained medical doctors, so they are limited in their knowledge. Some might have some nursing background. Some didn't even stay long enough to learn what they could have learned. And there's just some that don't have a clue what's going on. And so them themselves don't know where to start or what to look for. You know, I personally believe, and this is my opinion, I personally believe that every health minister should have some sort of medical background, knowledgeable background about most of the things, if not everything. Because when you have a person or people in a position of power and they themselves do not have certain knowledge, certain training, certain background, they only make matters worse because they can't stand up and defend anything because they don't know anything. And what they do know or think they know, they're not even sure about. Now, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. We can all learn. But with the rate things are going now, trust me, there's very little time to learn some of these things that takes years to learn. So I just wanted to take time out to bring to you some of the things that I have been taught. Some of the things that is embedded inside of me. As I said, I'm passionate about anatomy and physiology. Did my studies, was able to go and sit my exams for the Lymphatic Council of America board at the International College of the Cayman Islands, with the vigilator being Dr. Cummings. All right. You see, it's one thing for us to get up and blabber off about my ministry or my office and what is entrusted to me and what is this and what is that. It's one thing to do all that. It sounds very nice and very eloquent. Oh, it's very nice. As a matter of fact, I'm even tired of hearing all that rubbish. It's very nice to say all those things. But behind that, what kind of product? What kind of product is being presented otherwise? You see, when your immune system is overloaded, you are susceptible to any and all other diseases and infections, be it viral or bacterial. When your immune system has been, depleted, impeded, destroyed, affected, you open the door. And I know that anybody with common sense listening to me, you don't have to be a medical doctor, but anybody with common sense listening to me can put 2 and 2 together. And yes, the real 2 and 2, 2 plus 2 equal 4. That's what we know. Well, that's what I was taught in school with the little that I have. You understand? I asked the question, where are the virologists? Where are the pathologists? Where do we have any that can come and speak? The pathologists that study diseases, tissues and cells? Huh? You see, it's not everybody out here that is naive or stupid. There are some intelligent, well-taught, studied, groomed individuals in our society. And I'm not the only one, but I can assure you, I am one of them. So I asked the question, where are they? What happened to all of the honest lab technicians? Where are the lab technicians? Who cares about people anymore? Where is the love and the care about humanity? Who cares about people anymore? And sad to say, but even what we're seeing now with some of our pastors, I have to wonder now if some of them, notice I didn't say all pastors, who the cap fit, let them wear it. I owe no man no apology. I'm going by what I'm seeing, what I'm observing, and what the world is observing. So even to our pastors now are standing up and defending something that the majority of them, they have know nothing about, don't have a clue, and won't even try to learn anything about. And when others that know some little things speak, then they're conspiracy theorists, and they're this, and they're quackers, and they're this, and they're that. Yeah, man. So we see even the many pastors are participating in the destroying of humanity, if you will. Look around, listen. But I stopped by to serve notice, and I want you to hear me. You can write it down. I stopped by to serve notice that we are getting ready. We are getting ready to see, feel, and experience one of the biggest breakthrough infections rate and elevation that we have ever seen in history, including in the Cayman Islands. I remember when I prophesied about the different things that would be coming. Oh, a lady came on social media on Facebook and she traced me off properly. See, she's a Christian. She told me off properly. When things began to happen and roll out, I searched for her and she disappeared. She was not to be found. She was nowhere to be seen until this day, because I'm still looking for her to say, what do you have to say now after you traced me off and cursed me out and disrespected me? What do you have to say now? But she's nowhere to be found. I suppose one day we will look for some, and they too will be nowhere to be found. But as I said, we are opening the door to see, feel, and experience one of the biggest breakthrough infection rates in history. Mark my word. You see, when we start messing with God's doings, God's perfect doings, we must expect consequences. And I hope that politicians, university trained medical doctors, everybody can listen to this, teachers, pastors, brethren, family, friends. I don't think I am saying anything that is wrong. I don't think so. I'm doing my best and I will stay in line and I will stay in my lane. But as I said before, what I have been taught is really what I am repeating. So if I have been taught the wrong things in nursing school, and I wouldn't even say alternative medicine, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there, because that's just a couple years back. That's just from in 2009, 2007, 2009 when I started my studies, and for years. I graduated as a nurse in 1990, I think it was 1989. I graduated. And in 1990, I went off to do studies, given a scholarship by the government Now, if the government didn't thought, if my superior, if my boss didn't thought that I could do it, and I had some kind of vast knowledge about certain things, would government had given me a full scholarship with stipend and everything, rent paid, food, everything, uniform, everything? Would government have done that? I want you to think and think good. All right. You know, when I returned, my first solo in theater was with the same Dr. Steve Tomlinson. It was an emergency, and I was at work, and he called me one side and he said, "Julie, you recently come back, and I heard you done very well and you're very good at what you're doing. Well, let us see today." And I went in that theater with Dr. T, as we affectionately call him, and we did that case, a major case. And he can tell you, when it was all over, he congratulated me and he said to me, he said, "I'm proud of you. You know your stuff. You're very good. And I'm proud of you. Congratulations." So I'm not no hurry come by, or you see me here, don't class me with nobody else. I'm in my own lane. I mean, this Caymanian is in her own lane, running her race as the Lord leads. And so anytime we start messing with God's doing, expect consequences. And so, as I stated before, as I started to recall some of what I was taught in nursing and, otherwise, and when I went off to school there in Florida, and as you did your practicals and your interns there at all these major hospitals, and seeing all of these, blood works being done and all of these things, and they're teaching you as you go along about diseases and about infections and about, the various viruses and the various bacterias and all the different, abnormalities and all these things. Then things began to just, my memory began to just come back like it was just playing a tape that was recorded, or a CD that was recorded. You understand? And so I just want us to look at this as we talk about the lymphatic system. Remember, the lymphatic system now is that area of the body that fights for us. We're talking about the leukocytes and the neutrophils and all these different ones. You understand? And so when you listen to me, you will understand what I'm trying to say. But let's focus on the lymphocytes, the white blood cells. The normal range, well, that's what I was taught. The normal range for lymphocytes is 20% to 40% of the circulating white blood cells. 20% to 40% of the circulating white blood cells. Anything above that, if it's even 42 or 44%, you're looking at lymphocytosis. That's what I was taught. That's what I was taught. Anything above that, then the body has gone into lymphocytosis. In other words, elevated white blood cells, meaning there is severe infection in the body, in the blood. And when there is cell damage in the body, we find that lymph nodes become swollen. When there is toxicity, when toxins, when pathogens enter the body, and the body and the lymphocytes is trying to fight. Remember we say the lymphocytes is the killer cells, Remember we say the lymphocytes is the T cells. These are the fighters. You understand? You have what you call macrophages and those things that gulps up, the dead tissue and all them kind of things, and try to carry it out, and then we end up then with pus coming out, and that's dead cells that were destroyed. And now when the lymphatic system is overwhelmed with too much toxins, you heard me right, too much toxins, however it put there, however it get there, whoever put it there, when the body is full with too much toxins or pathogens, then the lymph nodes start to shoot out in different areas, trying to put up blockages. Now I'm telling you, this is what I was taught. Nobody can take it out of my head. If they taught me wrong in nursing school, well, blame the Cayman Islands government. Blame those teachers, those instructors. Blame the school that I went to. Blame the alternative medicine schools and the colon therapy schools and the GI doctors, advanced level trainings and all those things. This is what I was taught from nursing school. That the lymph nodes, when they are swollen, it's because of infection. And they put up their little points. They put up their little areas to trying to block off. They're trying to block off because now they're swollen. You understand? They're trying to protect and fight and destroy toxins, pathogens. And right now I know many persons, I know many friends who have shared with me that after doing certain things, that they have now developed painful swollen lymph nodes in various parts of their body. Yes. Some of you probably listening to me probably have some. Some of you know persons that have it, lymph nodes, the neck, the armpit, the groin area, all over, these lumps. And as I said, I'm only sharing from my training as I was taught. And I want you to know, if you find that you have swollen lymph nodes, go and see a medical doctor as soon as possible. Because if the lymph nodes are swollen for 2 to 4 weeks and it feels hard, that, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous when the body, has all of these lumps throughout and it's been 2 to 4 weeks or more. I am beginning to wonder, and I pray that God use me. I humble myself, and I pray that God use me in this fashion to trigger or open the eyes of some of our, of some of our leaders, and especially our own Minister of Health. I pray that she would rise up, ask questions, fear not, go back to the books. Go back to the books. Because I know that she was taught things too. But what happened? Some of us, we stop. We stop halfway through and we don't go no further. And so we are limited in our knowledge. But I pray that God would use me to open the eyes and start, to look at things and request things. Instead of just having one narrative. Let's be wide. Let's look at things from all direction, all points. And let's not be so defensive and so brutal. That if somebody says something that makes sense and because you didn't say it or because you didn't thought of it, makes the person look like what they're saying is foolishness or there's some kind of idiot, as some would call some of us. No, let us stop. Let us slow down. I believe things like this, what I'm doing here, will cause people to be enlightened. Will call people to be more educated and more open. Sometimes over the years, as we go along and as we grow from day to day, you will find that we must always be open and willing to learn. This is my stance. I will never stop studying. As long as I'm living, I'm studying. I'm educating myself. I'm doing cross references. I'm doing research. Yes, you heard me right. I'm doing research. I go into various, areas. I go into various documents. And I don't take one thing and run with it. I'm gonna find 2 or 3 different opinions, and then I put 2 and 2 together and pick whatever sense I can get out of it. So we find that, a lot of people are seeking more knowledge and understanding about certain things. And if there was proper educational drives to educate people with the truth, trust me, some of the trouble we have in today, we wouldn't even have it. We wouldn't even be near it, because people would be educated. They would have an opportunity to do their own due diligence. They would be aware of certain things. They would be told, listen, after so and so and so and so, whether 1 time, 2 time, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, it is a possibility that you might experience this or that or the next thing. So if this or that or the next thing, the first time that you see anything happening, come and see me as the medical doctor, not me, but just paraphrasing, or go and see your medical doctor. People would be aware, and they would be looking out for certain things because they were forewarned that it's a possibility that this could happen. You could get severe sore throat. You can end up with, hoarseness. You can end up with, regular flu-like symptoms. You can end up with swollen glands under your neck, back of your head, your arm, your leg, your groin, wherever. But as soon as you see any little thing, then you come or you go and see the doctor, and we'll take care of you. These are the kind of things that should be, people should be educated about. Right now, you got people walking around with all kind of swollen glands for months. Some of them hard as rock. What you think happening to the immune system there? What you think has happened to the immune system? And you know something? Any real good medical doctor that's listening to me, and if they really want to be honest, they could say, yes, man, she know what she's saying. She's talking the truth. She's not saying anything that is wrong. She has been taught well. And so today, this is why we have so much problems. This is why you have a lot of, people refusing this, refusing that, and not sure about this and not sure about that. Some now murmuring and complaining after the fact. Some living in fear. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to go to. They never know that this would happen. So there's a lot going on in our society. And we need to stop playing the fool. And we need to stop going up there talking about my ministry and my office and what is entrusted to me and all that kind of foolship. Nobody's not interested in that. What people is interested now, people want to hear. People want to hear, tell me something that if this happened, that if I see sign of this or I see sign of that, tell me what I must do. That's what people interested in. People not interested in no more of it. Everybody know who is who and what is what and what is responsible for what. But having a title and not pulling the weight does not make anyone, all that. No. I know that I'm not gonna like what I say now, but, and I'm speaking in general, I am speaking in general. This go for who the cap fit. Whether it's Cayman, anywhere. I am speaking in general. Whoever the cap fit, wear it. I don't call no name. So if anybody want to call name, let them call name. And if anybody want to take it upon themselves, let them take it upon themselves. All right. What I'm going to do now is let you hear something for yourself. I'm going into another area now. And I had this for a very long time. But I want you to listen to this. This is from October 2019. When I began to harness things, and some of it is coming out now, but I have things long time. Enough things that not even reach out yet. But I want you to listen to this now, because this is where we are today. And I want you to listen to this. Notice I didn't say October 2020. I want you to know that this secret meeting was held October 2019. I want you to listen to this now. You put two and two together. And then I'll be back to end what I'm saying.
Why don't we blow the system up? I mean, obviously we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet. But there must be some way that we grow vaccines mostly in eggs, the way we did in 1947.
In order to make the transition from getting out of the
I know you know that voice.
Egg growing, which we know gives us results that can be, beneficial. I mean, we've done well with that, to something that has to be much better. You have to prove that this works, and then you've got to go through all of the clinical trials, phase 1s, phase 2s, phase 3, and then show that this particular product is going to be good over a period of years. That alone, if it works perfectly, is going to take a decade.
There might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes.
So we really do have a problem of how the world perceives influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
But it is not too crazy to think that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere. We could get the RNA sequence from that, beam it to a number of regional centers, if not local, if not even in your home at some point, and print those vaccines on a patch and self-administer.
Yes, sir. You all heard it for yourself. So, the influenza, we just give it another name. And we create some excitement. And, we just, make it sound scary. And we get it out. And we come up with this novel thing. And this is what it is. Don't forget. That's not my voice, or I didn't change. My voice is up and down. So you all heard it for yourself. So I just want to leave you with all of this. You pick out what you want to pick out. Put 2 and 2 together, or 3 and 3 together. And you ask God to open your eyes, give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And like I said before, there's nothing that I said that I was not taught and used over the years as a nurse, and also taught by other entities, other colleges, other doctors, other nursing supervisors, other instructors. There's nothing that I said here that I have not been taught. And believe it or not, I'm going to land with this. I believe that what I was trained to do and what I was taught in the old school still stands. Despite how it looks, despite how it sounds, I believe it still stands today. May the Lord bless you. I pray and trust that you have been inspired, uplifted, educated, and challenged by what I said. God bless. Shalom.